What's happening, everybody? This is Jim from JCRC. Oops, let's get those out of there. This is Jim from JCRC with a WLtoys 10428A Wild Truck Warrior. Doing a quick repair video. One of the previous videos that I used this truck on, I snapped the rear axle on it. Snapped it right here, just above where this taper meets the straight part of the axle. That's where it broke at. So last night, off camera, I used 2 sets of hair rubber bands, 2 sets of 4, where I just kind of tied them all together. Put a set around this tire up to the top, another set around the other side up to the top. Left the trailing arm on here for a little bit of lateral support from side to side. Put a plastic baggie, parts baggie, in between the axle drive shaft here and the differential, just to keep any kind of excess glue from running down into the gears. And now I'm going to put a little bit of JB Weld water weld on it to try to beef this up. I just used the super glue on here just to keep all these parts in check, to keep everything straight, to make sure that it was where it needed to be. And now I'm going to use some of this JB Weld water weld just because I have it on hand and it's what I have at my house. I don't have to go anywhere to get anything. What's that? Axial AE5 sitting here on the side. Wonder what that's for. Question mark. Alright, so I'm going to use this JB Weld to fix the WLtoys. Sorry for the flashing there. The stuff's pretty strong. It adheres to just about everything: fiberglass, aluminum, steel, copper, wood, ceramic, PVC, plastic. Permanently repairs fuel tanks, water lines, boats, docks, drains, and much more. Fuel tanks, batteries, oil pans, timing chain. Timing chain. Hardens in 20 minutes. Fills cracks, patches stuff, drill it, file it, sand it, tap it, paint it. It has a pretty high tensile strength on it, if I can get the camera to focus on that. Density 15 pounds something. Compression strength 12,000 psi. Tensile strength 6,000 psi. That's pounds per square inch. Modules of electricity 6 something, I don't know. Apparently you can use this for a wire insulator as well. Electrical properties, blah blah blah. Anywho, I'm going to use this because that's what I have on hand, just to do a quick little repair on the WL. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this truck at this point in time. For how much money I have invested into it, I'm actually kind of done putting money into this truck. I'm not going to put any more money into this truck whatsoever. I could have bought a brand new plastic axle for less than $10. But what's it going to do? It's going to break it. It's going to break again because, it's plastic. So, it's kind of futile to do that. I looked up last night on, looked up some K949 aluminum parts for it. And, they make a lot of aluminum parts. You can get the trailing arms and the steering knuckles and some of the suspension stuff for the front cantilever suspension. You can get new aluminum shock towers. So they got like a whole aluminum package that you can get for less than $100. Don't quote me on prices here, because prices do vary from site to site. But it was less than $100. It was like right around $70, for the full set of aluminum. I probably would get blue aluminum, but the only problem is that the blue aluminum that WLtoys makes doesn't necessarily match like my aluminum wheels here. It's not the same color blue. It's like a lighter color blue. Whereas like Entergy, their color blue matches up with these wheels. So if I were to get aluminum, I'd probably want to get Entergy aluminum, which is significantly more money for Entergy stuff. Like the blue aluminum rear axle just for the housing is over $100 just for the axle. So that comes back down to the math. I did the math on everything. For Entergy aluminum parts, which would be for twin hammers, it gets pretty expensive. If you wanted to use steel gears from front to back, if you were to replace everything with, Vatera gears, once again, it's getting pretty expensive. It's, a couple $100. So, at that point in time, you're like $50 short from buying a brand new twin hammers, or, do I want to put $200 more into the WLtoys, which was, less than $150 to buy to begin with. So, yeah, definitely on the fence with what I want to do with this guy. At this point in time, like I said last night, I did some work on it. I pulled out all my stainless steel Vatera twin hammer screws, took those all out of here, put those off back in the box. I took out all my Boom Racing Vatera sealed ball bearings. I took all those out of here, the bearings that I had put in, and I put the stock bearings back in. So right now, at this point in time, this vehicle is kind of becoming a thrasher. I'm just going to maybe take it out and abuse it and beat up on it and not really care what happens to it. Either that or my friend Thano, I talked him into buying a regular 10428, the standard 10428, the green colored buggy. So I might just keep this around for a parts vehicle for him. In case he breaks parts, we can just scavenge parts off of this versus, ordering parts from overseas, waiting a couple weeks to get them in the mail, and, by that time, summer's over. So let's get back down to the repair video here. So like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I used some super glue to hold this, just to keep everything in check. Going to use the JB Weld right now to try to patch all this back together. Or to kind of build it up along here like a big gusset or support, and start up here at the top and work my way down to the bottom here. I'm probably going to cover up these screw heads. I really don't care about that. If I need to get this apart again, I'll just bust out the hacksaw and start cutting. Because like I said, at that point in time, if this thing breaks or I need to take it apart, for Thano's vehicle, it is what it is. I really don't care about it anymore at this point in time. So yeah, I should care about it, but it's not my trail finder. You know what I'm saying? My trail finder is my first love. I love that truck. That thing's a total beast. And it's strong as hell. So like I said, if it's my trail finder, it's a different story. That's an actual vehicle that I really care about. The WLtoys, on the other hand, it's essentially a Tyco turbo hopper. It's toy grade RC car. Yeah, it does have a lot of capabilities. It does have incredible suspension for what it is. But it's still toy grade. The plastic is toy grade. All the metal parts are toy grade. It's not. It definitely doesn't have the strength or the reliability of the trail finder. So nevertheless, once again, quick fix on the WLtoys, and let's get down to it. Well, all right. There's the hair rubber bands that are linked together there, removed. Tires removed. I already have those screws out of the axle. Just gonna pull this apart and remove this baggie. Set that guy off to the side. And now I'm gonna put all this back together as best I can with one hand here while I'm holding the camera. All right. Now I'm going to put the 4 screws back in on the axle, tighten this back down, because when I put this JB Weld on, 10 chances to 1, I'm probably going to end up covering up these screw heads because I'm going to want that JB Weld to extend over top of this hub here, just like I said, for a little bit more support from side to side, a little bit of gusseting or whatever, to keep this somewhat strong. So I'm actually going to scratch this up a little bit too, so that JB Weld has something to adhere to a little bit better. So I'll do that off camera. Alrighty, so off camera, I just use this little flat blade screwdriver and put some vertical and horizontal scratches on this to give the JB Weld something to adhere to. I went all the way around the axle with that, doing little scratches or whatever, just to try to put some grooves in here so that stuff can hold on to something. Alright, so back to the JB Weld. This stuff does have a little plastic coating that goes around the outside edge of it, so you need to peel that off before you start mixing this together. I did put the screws back in here. I got this all tightened back down, so let me start mixing this together and then put it on here. Alrighty, I am back, and through the miracle of video, 20 minutes has elapsed, or a little bit more than 20 minutes. And you guys are going to think I'm full of crap, but the FedEx guy has shown up to my house within that 20 minutes. Like I said, last night I was online, or yesterday I should say I was online, and I ordered some things. Not that AE 5-speed controller. I went to my local hobby store and I picked that little guy up. But the FedEx guy dropped off this little box right here just a few minutes ago. What's in the box? Who knows what is in the box? I'll have to unveil that here in another video. But for the time being, here we go. I got the JB Weld on here. It still feels a little bit warm, so I think there's still a little bit of a chemical reaction going on here, so it's still hardening up. It is like rock hard right now. I'm squeezing on it and it's not giving an inch. So yeah, I slathered that on there, wrapped it all the way around completely. It looks like this on the back side as well. Kind of tapered it up following the taper of the axle, making sure that there's no air bubbles in here. And I'm probably going to sand this down a little bit and then paint it black. So let me get to that. But before I do that, one other thing, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I also put the stock tires and wheels back on this vehicle. I took off the 1.9 XLs. The aluminum wheels and bigger tires, I think, were causing a little bit of extra stress to the drivetrain. It takes more torque to spin those tires, you know, and that transfers to obviously more damage if you're trying to climb over something or whatever. You know, it's just more stress on the gears and on everything else inside the truck. So I put the stock tires back on here. Once again, I think I mentioned in a previous video that these tires and wheels actually came off of a 10-428, just a standard 10-428, the green one. When I did the 10-428 Jeep Wrangler conversion for my friend, we swapped wheels. He liked my black wheels better, so I just gave those to him. These wheels were gold. I painted them black and you know, painted the little fake lug nuts there, silver or whatever on the inside, just to throw a little contrast in on it. So these still do have the air holes in them. I'm just gonna slap these guys on here. And that's what's pretty much going to be on this truck for the duration of its life. Yeah, that has to do with what's in that box and that speed controller sitting on the table. So yeah, nevertheless, I'm going to sand that down real quick, paint it up real quick here, and we'll be right back. Alright, so through the miracle of video, boy, that is really glaring there, isn't it? I did a little sanding on that. No, it's not perfect, but you know, it's not a perfect world. If it was a perfect world, then this little guy would have never broke to begin with. So let me clean up that sanding debris, and do a little painting. And there we go. Through the miracle of video and a trusty tester's paint marker, not being paid by anybody, just showing you what I used. All back together. Not perfect, but it should hold up. I actually almost wish I had some more to that JB Weld. I would have, you know, gusseted it up this side too. You know, if you put a nice coating of that stuff on it from front to back, yeah, you'll probably never get this thing apart again, but that would definitely add some extra support on the rear axle and would probably keep everything together, and you would probably never have a problem out of it until you ended up blowing out your gears, and then you would be SOL, or you know, crap out of luck on that one. You'd be forced to buy a whole new rear end. So regardless, there she is, all JB welded back together. We'll give that paint some time to cure, or to dry up a little bit. I'm gonna slap the tire on this guy, maybe put the battery back in it. I got the battery sitting on the hood of the trail finder, and maybe take it out for a test run real fast. All right. Excuse the traffic there. Once again, we are back. She is back together, and we'll give her a little run. We got her all plugged in and ready to go. See if it works. Definitely works. And like I said, this baby has graduated to a thrasher, so it's not going to be good for anything other than beating up on. Sorry for the view here. I guess in retrospect, I should have pulled out that locker in the front differential too, and just set it up as an open differential so it'd live longer. But open differentials are no fun, so She's all locked up. Yeah, so not much abuse today. I'm not going to really rag on it until that, I'm going to give that epoxy a little bit more time to set up. But moral of the story, she's back up and running. A little bit of JB weld on that rear axle, some water weld with a crazy strong 12,000 psi braking strength there. That water weld will definitely hold up. I'm sure that axle is going to break on the other side before this one gives out. So thanks for watching, everybody. This is Jim from JCRC. Click like and subscribe. Share with your friends. The WLtoys 10428 Wild Truck Warrior, officially designated as a thrasher. And once again, you had seen that AE5 speed controller that was sitting on my table. You'd seen that brand new box that the FedEx guy had dropped off. And well, I guess we'll have an unboxing video here coming up shortly. And maybe even possibly a build video, who knows. So once again, thanks again for watching, everybody. WLtoys 10428 is officially a thrasher. Thanks again, we'll see y'all.